Yeah, so I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a little girl. Kind of as I got older, I realized that math was my strong suit, and so I could help my fellow classmates who were struggling in math, and I just saw how they were excited when they learned something that I was able to teach them. So I just went into math, got a degree in math, and yeah, found my way into just being with students. I loved it.
The most rewarding part is getting to wake up and go see students every day. I'm excited to see them, and it makes me happy to know that they're excited to come to me and see my class.
I think one of the biggest things in my classroom is when they come in, we want to make sure that they know that no matter what obstacle you face, you can get through it. I think the biggest success that I've had since becoming an educator is just building our own community in the classroom and building a safe space and knowing that it's a safe space for my students.
I'm somebody who, it turns out, loves to learn. And so one of the really excellent parts of my classroom practice is that my classroom gets to be my laboratory. So the students are learning about science practice and science understanding, and I'm learning in parallel. I'm learning how to be a teacher.
You're not going to fix everybody. You're not going to make every problem go away. And it's really hard. You know, the vast majority of people who go into education really do it because of a love of helping children. And it's really hard not to be hard on yourself when you don't feel like you're doing everything you can. Because in reality, you probably have done above and beyond what you can.
I think compassion is very important. I think it's important that we look at kids as people before we see them as students. Everyone has a story, and everyone struggles with something. Everyone is afraid of something. Everyone has lost something. And I think people's stories are really important.
Every child is different, so they will face their own challenges. And there are so many things in the world that can be a challenge for them today. One thing that is just pressure. I feel like they feel so much pressure from social media. They feel pressure to achieve at high levels. They think they have to be perfect or, be the best at something. And I just really want them to know it's okay. Just be your best. It's going to be okay.
I think the main challenge for students is really the rate of change. Technology as it evolves has changed our work environments, personal environments and everything, and I always try to coach them that they may be working careers and not even identified yet. And so I like to keep that as far as position them as being a lifelong learner.
We have to have students challenge themselves. I can challenge them, but I need them to challenge themselves in order to grow as people. And then they have to be able to be themselves. That's the only person that they're going to be good at being, so why not be the best version of themselves?
I like being around the energy that elementary schools have. It's just, you don't get that anywhere else.
I've always loved to read. Books are just, I was a reader as a kid. I remember learning to read, and I remember sitting in my first grade class learning to read. I think kids sometimes think they have to know what they want to be when they grow up or whatever, but your life can change and your story can change, and your life is your story. Write well, edit often. I love the concept of that.
I was going through a management program, and it was with senior leaders in the corporation, and they kept on stressing to us that the greatest attribute of education is the ability to do what you have to do, when you have to do it, if you want to or not. And at first that seems to be rather severe, but it's really look and focus what you can get accomplished. If you're faced with a difficult task or situation, work through it and don't grumble your way.
I love differentiation and figuring out how to best tailor to everyone's learning skills. I love being able to critical think and watch my students become problem solvers. And I love just being able to have fun, being able to color and cut and glue and all of those things that you do in the elementary school but may not get to do in high school.
I think we adults need to listen to children more. I think that young people are often undervalued and their ideas about the world are undervalued, and I think they have a lot to teach us adults.
If I were to bring anyone into the classroom, anyone in the world, it would be Michelle Obama. She is the epitome of grace and kindness. She just seems like the sweetest person in the world, so I think that that would be the kind of energy that I would want my students to be around.
I can't live without outside, so I'm thankful that spring is coming. I couldn't live without the loud students. I know a lot of people don't like the loud students because they talk out of turn, but in a PE setting where you have an entire gymnasium or entire outdoor setting, those students really warm my heart and they help motivate you and motivate their peers. And then lastly, I can't do without my G2 gel pens, 10-point font. So that's the best Christmas present I could get any year.
Chapstick, coffee, and patience. Probably those three things.
In my classroom, I can't do without a visual schedule, music. We have to have music, and we have to have movement breaks. Those are the things that are needed for us to make it through the day.
One thing I cannot live without in my classroom is pencils and erasers. We make mistakes as learners. Learning is making mistakes and revising our work. And so very literally, we write in pencil and we carry erasers in my classroom.
3 things I cannot live without in my class. Chocolate. I have a hidden stash of chocolate under my desk that the kids know about. I'm not very secretive about it. Sometimes I share, sometimes I don't. Diet soda. I live by diet soda. And markers.
Teaching is relational, learning is relational, and being human is relational. And my students and I get to do all of that together.
It doesn't matter the situation, you can always be a kinder person. You can always make a situation, a good situation better or a bad situation better as long as you show grace and kindness.